In a cozy old house, a group of mice lived in constant fear of a cunning cat named Whiskers. Whiskers had sharp claws, quick reflexes, and an insatiable appetite for mice. Every day, the mice would scurry about, always on edge, as they never knew when Whiskers might appear. Their lives had become a series of near misses, close calls, and sleepless nights. One day, the mice decided they could no longer live in such fear. They gathered in a hidden corner of the house to hold a grand council. The oldest and wisest mouse, Grandfather Gray, presided over the meeting. His fur was silvered with age, and his eyes held the wisdom of many years. "We must find a way to protect ourselves from that dreadful cat," Grandfather Gray began. "Whiskers has terrorized us for far too long. We need a plan, something that will give us a fighting chance." The mice began to chatter among themselves, throwing out ideas, most of which were quickly dismissed. Some suggested digging tunnels so deep that Whiskers could never follow, while others proposed moving to a new house altogether. But none of these ideas seemed practical. Then, a young mouse named Bright Eyes, known for his quick thinking and clever ideas, stood up and cleared his throat. "I have a suggestion," he said, his voice full of enthusiasm. "What if we tie a bell around Whiskers' neck? That way, whenever she approaches, we'll hear the bell and have time to escape." The room fell silent. The mice looked at each other with wide eyes. It was a brilliant idea. The thought of being able to hear Whiskers coming from a distance filled them with hope. They imagined a life where they could go about their day without constantly looking over their shoulders. "Yes. A bell. That's perfect," the mice began to cheer. They all agreed that this was the best idea anyone had ever come up with. The council was abuzz with excitement, and for a moment, it seemed as though their troubles were over. But then, Grandfather Gray raised his paw, signaling for silence. The room quieted down as all eyes turned to him. "It is indeed a clever idea," he said slowly, "but I must ask, who will bell the cat?" The mice looked around at each other, the excitement draining from their faces. They had not considered this crucial detail. Whiskers was not only fast and dangerous but also fearsome. The mere thought of approaching her was terrifying. One by one, the mice shook their heads. No one was willing to take on the dangerous task. Bright Eyes, who had suggested the idea, shrunk back into the crowd, his enthusiasm now replaced by fear. Grandfather Gray sighed. "My dear friends, this story teaches us a valuable lesson. It is easy to come up with ideas, and even easier to get excited about them. But we must also think about how those ideas will be carried out. It is not enough to simply plan, we must be willing to act, even when the task is difficult." The mice, with heavy hearts, realized the truth of Grandfather Gray's words. The council ended without a solution, and the mice returned to their lives, still living in fear of Whiskers. And so, the story of the mice and the cat reminds us that while ideas may be plentiful, the courage to implement them is what truly makes a difference.